Welcome back to Star Wars Shovelware, my name's Luke, and today on the channel we're going to be checking out Marble Maid on the Nintendo Switch. A puzzle platformer looking to tap into those monkey ball vibes as you roll your way around levels, avoiding hazards and clearing them of dust bunnies within the allotted time limit. Being another East Asia soft tile though, you know that gameplay alone isn't going to be enough of a selling point, and so we also get the usual dose of cartoon nudity. But how well does it play, and is it worth your cash? Well, hit that like button, subscribe for more Switch reviews and content, and let's find out. So rather surprisingly, Marble Maid does actually have some resemblance of a storyline, and in the game's intro we see our character clad in a maid attire, heading into a house for another day's work. Upon entry though, she finds herself trapped inside a bubble and apparently miniaturised, and thus ensures her exploration of the giant mansion, which is populated by dust bunnies, which regardless of her situation she feels obliged to eradicate. Now up until the end of the game there's nothing more in the way of a storyline, which to be honest didn't really come as a surprise, but one thing that I do think could have done with a bit more explaining is your evil twin Maid, but alas the game is quite arcadey, and these kind of titles aren't known for having extensive plot lines. So the general format of gameplay in Marble Maid is pretty simple. In each of the game's levels, your primary objective is to find and destroy a specific number of dust bunnies, after which the exit portal will open, and each level has a time limit, so the main challenge with this one comes from identifying efficient paths through the levels, but in most cases these time limits are pretty generous. Now in order to destroy dust bunnies you must run them over with your ball, though this is made more difficult due to the fact that they'll scarper as soon as you get close to them, and this is definitely one of the most frustrating and challenging aspects about the game. The vast majority of levels don't provide anywhere for you to corner the dust bunnies, and so, as is often the case, they'll just run off the edge of platforms and then respawn back where they started, and you'll frequently just end up sitting on these spawn points in order to catch them. Now the controls in the game are kept very simple too. In addition to rolling yourself around with a thumbstick and having a less than adequate jump, you're also able to charge up a dash manoeuvre, which you'll end up using quite a lot to catch dust bunnies and launch yourself across gaps. The absence of any sort of meter to display how powered up your charge is though ends up being a bit of a pain, as although there's a visual indicator for when the charge is full, a full charge is rarely required, and you usually just end up propelling yourself off the edge of the level, resulting in a time penalty. For the most part though, the game controls fine, and it's nowhere near as tricky as Super Monkey Ball to get the hang of. Now when it comes to level design, the game has 5 different areas for you to clean up, each of which is themed after rooms in the house, so think things like the bathroom, kitchen and wine cellar. All of these are accessed from portals in the main hub area and contain around 10 levels each, as well as a final boss level, and hidden within one stage in each world is also a secret hidden level for you to find. The actual difficulty of levels really varies though. You have the usual moving platforms, springboards and hazards to dodge such as spikes and flames, and each area contains unique features offering varying degrees of challenge. You'll encounter things like ice blocks which reduce your traction and stop you from jumping, fans and flans which blow and bounce you about the place, and lethal wine bottles which roll back and forth, and I felt that most of these features did a decent job of keeping things interesting. However, there were a couple that I wasn't so struck on, especially the dark levels which required you to light your way using torches. These levels weren't exactly challenging though, just a little bit too annoying in my opinion. Now the boss battles in Marble Maid occur at the end of each level set, with Maid standing as the gatekeeper to the next area, and these battles require you to knock your purple haired rival off the edge of the arena 3 times, which actually proves to be relatively easy, but each time you face her you'll have new mechanics to contend with, which keeps these battles interesting. In general though, I found gameplay in Marble Maid to be pretty enjoyable, if not a little repetitive after a while. Collecting the additional dust bunnies in levels presents an additional layer of challenge, but you'll be glad to know that your efforts are rewarded with a bit of cartoon nudity, as after reaching specific dust bunny milestones, you'll unlock paintings located in the hub area, which show Marble Maid in various states of undress, as well as performing various acts on herself or others. As with many games like this though, these lewd incentives feel like they're just there as a selling point rather than adding any real value to the gameplay, and the game would have functioned perfectly fine without them, though it may not have sold quite as well. Overall though, Marble Maid is relatively well put together. You'll likely find the jumping and some of the level mechanics can be a little trying on your patience, as well as those skittering dust bunnies, but it's not a bad game to burn a few hours on. In terms of its playtime, it'll likely take you around 3 or 4 hours at most to complete, but after this you'll unlock hard mode, which reduces the time limits and changes the layouts of some of the levels, as well as an entirely new level set where instead gameplay takes on a Mario Kart style format as you race around a track collecting dust bunnies. But if these were not enough incentive to keep you playing, you've always got that gallery to fall back on. So on the visual front, there's nothing particularly impressive about the graphics in Marble Maid. Levels appear to be comprised of primitive building blocks and textured to match the themes of the levels, but they do manage to capture a bit of that monkey ball vibrancy and work well for level visibility. I thought the quality of the artwork in the game was also pretty decent, though it does include some fan-made art pieces, whose quality, shall we say, varies significantly. On the audio side of things, sound effects are relatively generic but suit the gameplay fine, and the soundtrack has a kind of quirky but upbeat vibe to it which isn't too bad, and is enjoyable enough to play along to. So performance wise, for the most part the game runs fine on the Switch, though I did find that in the dark levels the frame rate struggled at times, possibly because of the amount of shadows on show. When it comes to issues, platforming is a little janky but nothing too bad, and the camera angle can cause issues at times. But other than this, the only other problem was with boss fights, whereby the boss's health would reset if you fell off the edge of the level, but the level timer wouldn't, and so I'd often end up having to manually restart the level myself. Overall though, I'd say that Marble Maid is probably one of the better lewd titles out there next to the waifu games. There's a decent amount of gameplay on offer, and there's been plenty of thought put into the level designs and mechanics, which is more than can be said of some of the recent games I've played. And so when it comes to my own personal rating, I'm going to be giving Marble Maid 3 out of 5 stars. Nudey incentives aside, Marble Maid is a decent little puzzle platformer. The game can be enjoyed well enough without you having to peruse its gallery, though I bet you do anyway. And so that just about does it for this review of Marble Maid on the Nintendo Switch. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments section below, give that like button a tickle if this review helped you out, and consider subscribing if you enjoy my content and want to see more. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.